Like imagine you are 18 years old and you found this video, and now by 30 years old you have a nest egg of $200,000 plus. What is up everyone, this is Alex and welcome to Financial Freedom Starting from Zero episode 9. This is how I will start the financial freedom journey from $0 by actually starting from $0 and building it together with you. So if you want to join me on a journey, feel free to subscribe. As you know from the previous video, we are on our second financial independence goal, which is to grow our net worth to $10,000. We are good with our 3 months plus emergency fund, and now it's time for us to invest for the future. Our net worth is at $3,500. As it was in the previous video, I did not add anything else. As I promised you in the previous video, we are going to start and talk a little bit more about investing, because if we want to become financially independent, this is something that we will have to do. You will see that it's possible for almost everyone to invest by themselves nowadays, and I promise you there are simple ways to do it that are going to require less than 10 minutes of work. Now let's talk about where to invest the money for the future, which is the actual topic of this video. I will present you a couple of options like I did with the emergency fund, and we're going to go from the simplest option to the more complex stuff. The cool thing is the simple option is the tried and true one and is actually recommended by legendary investors. So let's start with the easiest, zero effort, set it and forget it option, investing in the S&P 500 index. So if you did not know, Warren Buffett is one of the most successful investors of all time, and the S&P 500 index is actually his preferred index. And investing in the S&P 500 is his advice for 95% plus of the people. That's why he recommends that the majority of the people invest every single month the dollar cost average in the S&P 500 index, and they just forget about it. In his view, if we want to become wealthy by the time that we retire, investing in the S&P 500 index regularly is the go-to option. That's it. Job's done. If you'd like more diversification than the top 500 companies in the United States, you can go with the total stock market index, which will cover all the companies listed on the stock exchange in the United States, or you can go with the world index. But just so you know, the world index kind of underperformed the total stock market index and the S&P 500. Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, or the index fund, or the total stock market index, has the lowest management fees that I could find in the United States at 0.03%, which is called the total expense ratio. That's very, very low. And this is one reason why Warren Buffett actually likes those investment products, because they have very, very low fees, as opposed to an active manager that will charge anywhere from 1% to 2.5%. And in most cases, they underperform the S&P 500 index, but you pay them anyway. So it doesn't really make sense to pay them those high fees if they are going to underperform the index, or even like match the index. You are still going to have a performance that's lower by 2.5% if you pay them those management fees. In the EU, there are two ETFs that I like for the S&P 500 index. One is VUSA from Vanguard, and the other one is CSPX from iShares BlackRock. Any of them are fine. In Europe, they have a higher expense ratio of 0.07, but it's still very, very low. What we have to do with this option is very simple. Just invest every single month 100% of the savings in the S&P 500 index, and that's pretty much it. Job's done. The cool thing is that we can automate this. So we can set a direct deposit from our bank account to our brokerage account every single time that we get paid. And in the brokerage account, we can set an automatic investing on the same date or the next day, whenever the market opens, in the S&P 500 index. That's all we have to do, and in about 10 minutes we can set it for the next 30 years. Here are the results of investing $1,000 every single month since 1992 in the S&P 500 index and in the total stock market index. Portfolio 1 is a 100% allocation in the Vanguard's total stock market index, and Portfolio 2 is a 100% allocation in the S&P 500. Please note that there is a slight difference of performance of 0.15% between the two, but look over a long period of time that it's almost 100k. A 1% difference during that same time is about $500,000, and a 2% performance is an additional $1.1 million. That's why I try to learn more to slightly increase my returns. Like a small 1% improvement can make a huge difference over a long period of time. Now imagine paying 2% or 1% and you are basically losing those gains. That's why Warren Buffett doesn't usually like paying management fees that are 1% or higher. And that's why he prefers sticking with the S&P 500 index for the majority of people, because as you can see, their returns are insane. This last one is the full-blown, full effort option, picking individual stocks. Picking individual stocks should only be done by those that are actually interested in learning more about the stock market, in learning more about valuing individual businesses, and learning more about investing in general. Remember, you can be financially free with option 1, so there's no need to complicate stuff. This full-blown, full-effort option involves researching individual companies, like reading their financial statements, their balance sheets, their income statements, their cash flow statements, listening to conference calls, reading annual reports, reading shareholder letters, performing valuations on those companies based on the information that you acquired during the research process, which if the data input is wrong, then the results are going to be wrong. So there's a lot of room for error and a lot of room for screwing up. This is a totally different approach, because in this one, you would not dollar cost average every single month in a particular business. You will perform the valuation and you would invest large chunks of money in a company only when it hits your target price. Until then, you just save a bunch of money, you don't invest them, you have them available, and then when the opportunity hits, you invest large chunks of money. This option is for those that actually enjoy doing this research. Don't bother spending additional hundreds of hours if you don't like this stuff. Complicated stuff is not always better. I like doing this, I like learning more about personal finance, about investing, about the stock market, and so on and so forth. Now I will share with you my research summaries to have an idea of what it takes. My approach is going to be this. I will have a mix of individual stocks and also BTC. I go with option 3 only because I like researching individual companies. I want to learn more about investing in the stock market. I want to learn more about the stock market. I want to learn more about how to value an individual company, and that's the only reason why I go with option 3. To be honest with you, if I would not enjoy it, I would probably go with option 1 and maybe have a 5 to 10% allocation to Bitcoin. On the BTC allocation, I do it because since December 2020, I spent a hell of a lot of time researching and learning about it. And after all the information that I gathered, it is impossible for me to ignore it anymore. I use this allocation as a cheap insurance against a global monetary disaster, and because it will probably continue to outperform most of everything for the next 5 to 10 years. While I'm going with the more complex side, that doesn't mean that in the long term my results are going to be better. I can only test it. The odds with investing in individual stocks are not really in my favor, considering that most of the portfolio managers underperform the S&P 500 index. That's why I said the S&P 500 index is the tried and true way to invest for the long term and to have peace of mind, to not even need to know what the Federal Reserve is, or what interest rates are, or what quantitative easing is, or whatever else. Since we have no questions so far, here's some extra information on my approach. If you cannot already tell, I really like this personal finance and investing stuff. I read investing books and personal finance books for pleasure. During my walks, I listen to, you guessed it, investing and personal finance podcasts and investing related books. Those things fascinate me. Even the fact that why the hell are we not taught those things in school. Like imagine you are 18 years old and you found this video and you started investing every single month because you're good with your spending, you save your money, you also work part-time here and there, and you are able to do this. And now by 30 years old, you have a nest egg of $200,000 plus. Wouldn't that be life-changing money? You could stop contributing right there and let everything compound by itself, and you would still be a millionaire by the time that you retire, and you would be set for life. This is why I like this stuff. If you did not see my previous video, you can watch it here. I hope I'm pointing in the right direction. And until next time, don't forget that you are amazing.